All right. Hello, hello, hello. Today we are talking about step 10, which is work on your inner voice. Now, first of all, I have to tell you, good job. You are doing a great job, and I am so, so, so proud of you. I really mean it, I hope that you don't get annoyed by it, but I know what it takes to go through this journey, and just the fact of you progressing from one step to the other, it's massive, it's huge, and I am so proud of you because I know what it takes to do it. So, good job. I am really, really proud of you. So, let's talk about our inner voice. The inner voice for me, it was a concept that I've read about. I don't remember where it was, but I read about the inner voice. And till that moment that I read about it, I wasn't even aware of it. The first thing is to acknowledge that there is a thing called our inner voice. The second best step would be to listen to your inner voice. And once I started to listen to my inner voice, I was shocked because my inner voice sounded like my mother. And that was so scary, because it's funny because I always thought that once I leave my mom's house, because like I was a child and I was dependent on her, and I couldn't go anywhere, which I tried a few times, but I always ended up back in her house. So for me, leaving my mom's house was the ultimate thing that could ever happen to me. But then I realized that once I left my mom's house, that was when everything actually started. And I thought that once I leave her house, that's going to be the end of it. I didn't realize that I'm going to be carrying all that stuff with me to wherever I go. So once I've realized I had a thing that is called the inner voice, and I realized that it was exactly like my mother. That was one of the things that I thought that I'm gonna leave behind, but I didn't. She was with me, even when I was no contact, and when I would not talk to her, she was all the time in my head. And that's the thing, as children, we all internalize our parents' voices. But the thing is that there are kids that their parents tell them all the time how beautiful they are and how successful they are. You will never fail. Just a matter of how you look at things, and you can overcome everything. Positive parents, that teach you how to look at life in a positive way. So whatever your parents tells you as a child, that is what your inner voice is going to sound like when you are an adult. So when I started to listen to my inner voice, I realized that I was putting myself down all the time. And I put myself down very, very, very badly. It's like things that I would be very patient about with other people, I wouldn't do it with myself. I just wouldn't do it with myself. I would put myself down in ways that I would never do to someone else. And that was really scary and sad. So I read that when you think about your inner voice, you actually have to look at yourself as a child, as the child that you once were, and how would you react to whatever that child did that you are not satisfied with. How do you treat that child? And I realized that I would never treat a child the way that I treated myself, because I was so horrible with myself. I would never do that to another person and never mind the child. So it was hard for me to realize that I was treating myself the same way that my mom treated me. That made me really sad. I kind of broke down when I realized that. But when I realized that, I was lucky enough to be a mother. And with my daughter, I tried to do the opposite that my mom did for me, because I want her to be a happy child. I want her to be independent. I was independent, and my mother did teach me to be independent, but she did it in a very rough way and very, very aggressive. So I was lucky enough to, and I can see by my daughter that she is a happy child. She is happy, she is free, she's not scared of me. And I think that not being scared of your parents is the best thing that can happen to a child. So I was lucky enough to be a parent, and I said to myself, well, I know how to do it. I know how to treat a child the way they deserve to be treated. So this is what I have to start doing with myself. And that's when I thought about the fact that I can, I can think about being good to my child, but I never even thought about being good to myself. I didn't even realize that I was beating myself up so badly. So I think that this is a very, very important step towards healing. To start being, I think that on the last video I talked about self-mothering and self-fathering, and that's exactly what we have to do. And we have to do it in the opposite way that we experience as children, because I can see how bad my life was because I was putting myself down all the time. Sometimes it's really hard for us to believe that what our parents thought about us, it's not the reality, but I have to tell you that it's not. I'm sure it's not. And sometimes, it was like a wishful thinking that we thought that we were bad and that we are incapable, and that's what happened. So what you have to do, and I think I talked about it again in one of the videos, that what you have to do is start proving to yourself that you are something else. And that means not giving up on yourself and say, yeah, I know that I'm afraid of doing whatever, but I'm going to do it anyway. And it might not be perfect the first time, which it won't be perfect the first time, because nothing is perfect the first time that we do it. But you're going to have to be very kind to yourself and push yourself through and believe in yourself and say to yourself, I believe in you. And look at the child within you and talk to him in the voice that you would want your mother to talk to you. And what happens is that as long as you do it with time, you start to collecting those wins, those little wins, and you're going to start proving to yourself that you are capable and that you're not what your parents or your mom told you or your siblings told you or thought about you. So it's a long-term job that we have to do with ourselves, but it all starts with changing the way we talk to ourselves, our inner voice. And if you fail, which I don't use fail anymore, for me it's a challenge. It's not failures, it's ways that I've learned. And if the result of something that I did was not the result that I wanted, I look at it as one more way that I've learned how not to do it. So failure doesn't exist for me anymore because of my inner voice. And things are not tough. Things are challenges that I have to find the best way to overcome. And I know that as long as I'm trying, it's only a matter of time until I find the right solution. And this is completely different for what I've learned in my mom's house. For her, things were supposed to be one way, which was her way or the highway. And today I just know that there's more than one solution to a challenge. And that everyone has the right to see things differently and tackle or handle things the way they see fit. And people can surprise me because if I am open to other people's thoughts about it and other different ways to handle a challenge, I can always be surprised and I can always learn. And that is completely different to what I've learned as a child. And that is all due to the inner voice. So start listening to your inner voice. You're going to be very surprised, I'm sure. I'm sure that you're going to be very surprised. And start being aware of it and start using words that will make you stronger and that will empower you and not the other way around. So I think that this is it for this video, and I talk to you on the next one. I see you soon. Bye-bye.